Halo semuanya, apa kabarnya sore hari ini? Di sini ada siapa aja nih sekarang? Ada Pak Aditya Wahyu, Hai Wahyu, Bu Vivi, Agustinus Mulwanto, Pak Agus, Yulianto. Halo, halo
Ya,
semuanya.
selamat sore Pak Heri.
Sore-sore, gimana kabarnya nih sore ini?
Kabarnya baik dan semangat selalu.
Cie, asik, 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 asik. Oke, kita masih nunggu yang lain-lainnya untuk join ya. Kita masih nunggu sebentar. Masih banyak yang menunggu untuk hadir nih di sini nih. So ya bagi teman-teman yang lainnya sambil kita menunggu kita bisa juga say hi ya dengan buka mic juga boleh atau pakai chat aja. Nah ini speaker kita hari ini Michelle Nolting ya yang akan berbagi kepada kita dan dia juga sudah hadir di sini ya. Sesi ini akan menggunakan bahasa Inggris tapi nanti saya akan summarize dan rangkumkan untuk translate kepada Indonesia sedikit-sedikit gitu ya. Tapi akan sangat membantu kalau Anda semua bisa lancar dan fasih berbahasa Inggris. Kalau enggak, kita sebagai tim siap untuk membantu. Untuk benar-benar Anda mendapatkan sebanyak-banyaknya dari sesi ini juga. Yang baru join, siapa nih yang baru join? Banyak nih. Halo Yohana, Naina, Pak Fahmi, Bu Cynthia. Bu Cynthia sudah join audionya belum? Halo semuanya. Kita masih menunggu ya, menunggu lebih banyak orang lagi untuk join sebelum kita mulai. Jadi tolong bersabar dulu, boleh saling sapa-sapaan nih ya di grup. Boleh buka mic-nya sementara ini ataupun pakai chat. Yuk mari kita saling terkoneksi. Wah, udah makin banyak yang datang nih, 24 dan makin menambah terus. Ya, kita coba welcome lagi siapa lagi nih yang baru datang ini. Ada Yanuar. Hai Yanuar. Ada Rizda juga, Barista. Selamat datang. Yosefin. Ya, Pak Diki, Pak Fatah, Tevif. Selamat datang semuanya. Pak Dwi, halo Pak Dwi. And Russell, apa kabarnya? Apa kabarnya semuanya di sini? Semoga semuanya sehat-sehat, semuanya baik-baik juga. Kita akan mulai sesi ini sebentar lagi ya. Masih menunggu beberapa teman-teman lain untuk ada kesempatan untuk bergabung di sini. Salam kenal juga Bu Ina dari Klinik Derman Sense. Oke, terima kasih Bu Ina udah melakukan waktunya untuk join. Halo
Selamat
Pak
malam Pak,
Tevik.
baru pertama ikut di Sinergia.
Oh, baru pertama kali. Oke.
Baru, ya,
Ya, ya, ya.
saya kenal Sinergia dari Coach Agus.
Coach Agus. Oke, waduh. Kita mesti terima kasih nih pada Coach Agus nih kalau gini nih. Thank you Bu Ina untuk udah datang. Nanti kita akan sesi, semoga sesi ini berguna bagi Bu Ina ataupun untuk kliniknya ya, Dermasense ini.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Hen. Pak Hen ya betul ya.
Pak Henry, iya betul Pak. Halo, dari PT Sentosa Indika juga udah join nih. Ini Pak atau Bu Nanang, ya sudah join. Welcome semuanya. Bagi Pak Dwi ini audionya sudah terkoneksi belum nih? Pak Dwi dan Bu Cynthia nih. Ya, coba cek and recheck koneksinya. Apakah sudah terjoin di audio juga, sudah bisa mendengarkan kita ya? Kita lagi ngobrol-ngobrol di sini santai dulu sambil menunggu teman-teman yang lainnya untuk datang. Halo Pak Viton. Welcome Pak Viton. Halo Pak Abel. Welcome Pak. Pak Bobi, Pak Yanuar juga. Pak Yanuar kayak bergabung kembali lagi nih. Jessica. Welcome semuanya ya. Kita sambil menunggu sebentar. Ini makin banyak suara yang masih berdatangan nih. Topik hari ini sangat menarik ya. What is your entrepreneurship leadership profile? Ya. Apa nih profil leadership Anda dari sisi entrepreneurship, dari sisi wirausaha? Nanti Mission Noting akan memberikan satu pemaparannya. Saya tadi udah ngintip-ngintip nih slide-nya. Ini sangat menarik banget, sangat berguna juga, dan saya tadi sendiri pun ada banyak belajar dari hanya melihat sendiri slide-nya. Saya belum dengar sebenarnya Michelle akan ngomongnya seperti apa, penjelasannya seperti apa. Tapi ini sangat menarik. Ya, kita tunggu nih. Sebentar lagi kita akan tayang. Kita akan perkenalkan Michelle juga. Tapi kita mohon menunggu sebentar. Kira-kira 2 menit lagi ya. 2 menit lagi kita akan menunggu teman-teman yang masih bergabung di sini untuk bisa kita maksimalkan sesi kita dengan Michelle. Tadi udah datang lagi juga dari ini Pak atau Bu Yasya nih, baru berjoin juga, Bu Sandra, Bu Rizda, welcome semuanya, Bu Jessica, Pak Denny, welcome semuanya. Terima kasih sudah bergabung pada acara ini. Pak Bobby, thank you Pak Bobby sudah join juga. Nah, ini juga ada Pak Hadi, Pak Eka, ya, welcome semuanya ya, welcome. Oke, Novel, kita mungkin mulai aja ya. Kita mulai share slide-nya sedikit. Ada beberapa hal administratif yang saya mau sharing sedikit. Nova, tolong di-share screen-nya. Oke, mungkin pertama-tama perkenalkan ya, nama saya Henry. Saya adalah partner dari Genius U juga. Saya lokasi di Jakarta. Jadi bagi teman-teman yang ada di Jakarta ini, kalau ada pertanyaan-pertanyaan seputar Genius U yang nanti akan dipresentasikan oleh Michelle juga bisa tanya ke saya. Saya juga membantu Sinergia di sini sebagai moderator dan host acara hari ini. Aku punya misi adalah untuk membuat satu dunia yang baik dan bijak. Jadi ini satu sesi yang buat saya sangat berguna dan furthering my own mission gitu loh. Ya. Berikutnya Novel, saya senang sekali berada di sini bersama teman-teman semua di sini. Nah, apakah semua teman-teman sudah ready nih untuk transform? Ya, kita di sini adalah leaders talk. So pertama-tama jangan lupa cek koneksi, cek and recheck koneksi. Ya, bagi yang koneksinya masih agak lemot apa segala gitu, coba cari lokasi di mana wifi-nya lebih kenceng lagi ataupun hotspotnya ya. Dan aku ajak semua ini untuk sesi ini adalah active learning. Active learning gimana? Jadi saya ingin banyak interaksi nih. Kita kalau ada pertanyaan, kalau ada yang nggak jelas, silakan ya. Tolong teks aja di chat group gitu ya. Nanti akan dibantu oleh tim-tim di sini. Kalau ada juga pen dan kertas itu ya. Nanti mungkin ada dari pemaparannya Michelle yang perlu dicatat-catat, yang mau diingat-ingat, itu boleh tuh dicatat-catatkan. Ya, dan sekali lagi kalau ada pertanyaan dan lain-lainnya, monggo langsung di type aja di chat room. Berikutnya Novel. Nah, aku ajak sini untuk benar-benar kita present ya, hadir sepenuhnya di saat ini dan tempat ini juga, dan mohon tutup mikrofonnya. Tetapi saya ngajak nih semuanya untuk buka videonya supaya nggak kelihatan kayak ngomong sama tembok gitu ya. So kalau bisa yuk kita buka videonya. Bagi yang tidak bermasalah dengan wifi-nya, buka kameranya. Saya bisa melihat siapa nih yang sedang berinteraksi. Ya, kalau emang ada kendala dengan wifi-nya nggak masalah, boleh aja di off videonya. Tapi saya sangat mengharapkan lebih banyak orang yang bisa membuka videonya. Oke, nah seperti yang saya tadi sudah bilang ya, sekarang ini hari ini sesinya adalah akan dipimpin oleh Michelle Noting. Ya, so Michelle sudah hadir di sini. Hi Michelle.
Hi.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very good too. I'm very good too. So we are all excited, Michelle, to listen to what you're gonna tell us about the profiles, leadership profile. So would you like to share your slides?
Sure. Maybe before I do that, I can just do a bit of an intro because
yeah, sure.
I know my Indonesian is not so good, right? So just yell when I need to stop if you need to translate something.
Sure.
And if anybody has any questions, drop them into the chat. I'm pretty certain Henry will help me with a Q&A on the language side a bit later. If your English is good, then send it to me in English. It makes it easier, but right. No pressure. All right. So today I've been blessed and honored to assist Henry and Amelia in actually presenting to you guys on your leadership and what it is that you're doing, your entrepreneur profile, but from a bit of a leadership perspective. And maybe the start is to say that this is a journey. It's not a destination. When you are working towards being the best version of yourself and the best leader you can be, it's taking time. It's not something that happens poof, magically, and it's happened today. So it's an ongoing journey, and it's not about the end point. It's about continuous improvement and continuous learning and what you can do to be better as a leader, as a mentor, as an individual, so that you can make the changes that you are here to make from a purpose point of view. So the very first thing I'd like to just say before I get in is, why are you here? So drop in the chat what your biggest thing is that you want to learn from today. And hopefully we can answer those questions during the time. So okay. Henry, do you want to translate that before I start?
Sure, yes. So teman-teman semua sini ya, tadi Michelle barusan juga mengajak kita untuk tulis di chat room ya, kenapa Anda di sini? Kenapa Anda hadir di sesi ini? Apa yang ingin Anda capai ataupun belajar dari sesi hari ini ya? So silahkan ya, bisa dituliskan di dalam chat room, baik dalam bahasa Inggris, kalau bahasa Inggris Michelle bisa langsung lihatnya, ataupun dalam bahasa Indonesia nanti saya bisa bantu untuk translate. Tapi tadi Michelle juga ada berbicara bahwa hari ini lebih banyak tentang improvement ya, jadi perjalanan untuk mengenal diri kita lebih lanjut lagi. Dan ini bukannya satu tujuan ya, bukannya satu tujuan, tapi ini adalah satu journey, satu perjalanan ya. Perjalanan untuk hari ke hari lebih dalam lagi mengenal diri sendiri dan bagaimana kita menggunakan apa yang kita kenal dengan diri sendiri ini untuk menjadi lebih baik, lebih efektif, lebih optimal dalam kerjaan, dalam hidup dan segala aspek dalam ya, kehidupan Anda sih sebenarnya. Nah, sini ada yang udah sharing. Michelle, there's somebody who shared already.
I can see that. And it's in English. Amazing, guys. Influence leaders in our office and have improve our leadership skills. Entrepreneur profile, what does that mean? So you're definitely in the right place. And we're definitely here to help shed some light on what you should be doing and what you should be doing to grow as a better leader. And in my story, it's definitely, I started working with Entrepreneurs Institute and Genius Group. I think it was in 2017, actually. I started as a customer. And the reason I started as a customer was exactly because of what I'm going to talk about to you today. In my life, normally, I am a business coach. I work with a lot of bigger corporates, and I also work for Entrepreneurs Institute. So for me, I started using these tools as growing for my clients and finding a tool and workables that were actually brilliant. Now, these things I'm going to talk about today is, guys, I love them, like love, 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 love. So if I get too passionate or I yell too loud, you know why.
Yes.
But definitely love it. Okay, so shall we get started, Henry?
Yeah, sure. Let's go. So, let me translate a little bit. Tapi yang akan di-sharing oleh Michelle kali ini adalah benar-benar kayak life story dia. Dia join di Genius sejak 2017 sebagai customer, ya. Dan dia mengenal profiling ini dan basically Michelle loves it gitu ya. Nah, dia akan benar-benar passionate about it dan akan sharing dengan berapi-api. Kita lihat, kita dengarkan dari Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle.
Awesome. All right. So this is just your first slide. So this is what I'm going to cover today. So Henry's going to stop me along the way. We've already set the story. I'm going to talk about leadership and profiling, why it's something you want to do. Then I'm going to talk about talent and wealth dynamics, the history of where it comes from, the 4 main energies so that we can be aware of where we sit. Then we're going to have a bit of a debate about flow and trust. And you guys are going to have to be a bit participative in this part. Then I'm going to introduce the talent dynamics square. And I'm also going to talk about working with different energies and how you get the best out of people. And then just some tips on leadership styles at the end so that it actually brings it all together. Because at the end of the day, the goal from this is that you want to take these assessments and actually find out more so that you are better with your team and you can implement this with your people and your teams. Yeah, Henry,
Yep.
must I move on or just yell when I'm at stop, right?
Yeah, go ahead. You just move on, I think.
Okay, so these are, I'm just checking, you know, because sometimes maybe you need to stop me. So just yell, stop.
Right. I will.
Okay. All right. So in my world, right, I believe that there's certain fundamental beliefs of somebody who wants to be a trust and inspire leader. Now, I learned this from Stephen Covey, his son. I think you guys have possibly seen a lot of influence that we've done. I think the very first book that was written by Stephen Covey was many moons ago, right? But, you know, this is the point here is that they've put up a new book called Trust and Inspire. I actually have it next to my bed. And one of the things is, you know, becoming a leader in today's day and age and stepping up and being different is not about managing people anymore. It's about leading. So these are fundamental beliefs, and you need to, I don't know how to explain it, but push out the energy that this is what you want to be having and being as a leader. And you've got to actually believe. So start with one of these points. I know there's 5 of them, but firstly is like, you know, believe that people actually have greatness inside of them. Many of us get a bit cynical as we get older, right? Because we've been through many things. But believe that people in your team have got greatness inside of them. Also, when we talk about that, then it translates as a, you know, your job as a leader is to bring out their potential, not to put them in a box. So it's to bring out their magic, right? Now you can see I've got a unicorn on the bottom right of my screen, and it's because I believe that words are magical. We are magical. We can make change if we all pull together. But you cannot do this if you're trying to control people and outcomes. Yeah. The second point is really around people are whole people. What does that mean? People are not just a work person. They have families, they have partners, they like sport, they want to have time off, they want to do different things. They're not just one thing. They're, you know, like one tiny part of it. They're actually a wholeness of so many things. And it's about being curious about the people that you work with and lead. And how do you inspire them and not only just motivate them to be better, right? Most people can tell a nice story and excite somebody to make them do something better. But it's more of an inspiration, and it's coming from, you know, if you go into the history of words, inspire comes from spirit. Yes. So it's bringing out the spirit so that people can be better. The third one, which is very interesting, and it definitely comes into that abundance factor, right? There is enough for everyone. We don't have to fight. We don't have to worry whether somebody gets more attention or less attention, right? There's definitely, you have to be very aware that there's so much abundance, especially in today's day and age around us. And this results in, as a leader, that you elevate your caring above competing with your people. It's not a competition anymore. So I see we have a question. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. So
yeah, Sata. Ada pertanyaan, Sata? Hello?
Hello?
Maybe press the wrong button. I think you can continue. Maybe I ask Sata, okay, if you have a question, kalau ada pertanyaan, silakan di-type in ya di chat box. Yeah, thank you. Good.
Perfect. Okay, so definitely, you know, we've been raised in an environment where through years and years of conditioning, where you have to be better than someone else to move ahead, right? This is not the case nowadays. The case nowadays is how you elevate caring above that competition. There's enough for everybody. There's enough for everybody in this room today to be amazing. We don't have to fight to each be better than each other. We're actually better together than we are one by one. So think about that in your leadership. The fourth one is really around leadership is stewardship. Now, what does that mean? It means you've been given as a leader an honor, you know, like you've been like a queen or a king or a, you know, a princess or someone, you've been bestowed an honor to be a leader, right? That you have a gift that you should be working towards. And it is a gift to be able to be acknowledged as a leader, right? Which means that you're putting service above your self-interest. Yeah. How do you serve your people? How do you serve the greater community? How do you serve the world? Right. So take that in mind. And the last one is enduring influence is created from the inside out. So what do we mean? You fix you first. Go first. Here, you step up. You do it. And I don't know if you guys remember, a lot of, I learned this very on in my leadership career where, you know, in order to, I would lead by example. It was a natural thing. I would do something and see if it worked and then move along. But that is my natural energy state. So all of us have different energies, right? Which is great. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So Henry, do you want to summarize that?
Yes, of course. And really, Michelle, just this one slide, I already learned so much. Really, I really learned so much that, you know, I need to start from believing. So ya teman-teman semua ya di sini ya. Ini Misha tadi satu slide ini aja menurut aku tuh udah luar biasa banget sih. Aku juga belajar banyak di sini ya. Yang pertama-tama, kalau kita mau menjadi satu pemimpin yang dipercayai dan bisa menginspire banyak orang gitu ya. Dan benar-benar kita perlu percaya dulu. Percaya apa nih? Ada 5 ya sebelah kiri ini. Sehingga dari kita percaya bahwa misalnya kayak ini ya, people have greatest inside them. Masing-masing tiap-tiap orang punya keluar biasaan. Kekuatan di dalam mereka gitu ya, sehingga kerjaan kita sebagai leader mudah jadinya. Kita hanya tinggal unlocking ya, membuka pintunya, membuka potensi mereka dan bukan mengontrol mereka lagi ya. It's a leader's job. So ini satu slide ini aja menurut aku sih sangat berguna banget, dan yuk mari kita dengarkan berikutnya dari Michelle. Michelle, let's go ahead.
Amazing. Okay. So the next thing here that I just want to share is it's the potential for greatness. It's actually a cycle, and energy forms in cycles too. So you'll see later as we go through what your energy and your strongest energy, how it also works in a cycle. So what you need to be looking at is see the potential, communicate the potential, develop the potential, and then boom, unleash it. So it's a process. It's not every day that you see potential in everybody, right? Because like I said, we are humans, we train our brains, and we sometimes are a bit cynical with our teams, right? And we're like, oh, you know, I'm struggling with this person. But if you go back to the principles previously and you believe there's greatness in this person, then you can say, look, this is what I see in the potential in you, right? I would like to see more of this. I would like to see less of this, right? So the communication is really key. And this is a skill that's not everybody's strong point is communicating, but it's something as a leader that you learn to communicate different profiles and different strengths differently, right? So we're going to talk about that going forward now, but potential sometimes has to be, you know, developed. You have to nurture it. Like if you take a plant and you put it in a pot and it's a seed, right? You just leave the seed and then you bake it in the sun and then you do nothing, it's probably not going to come to anything, right? You have to kind of water it a little bit. If you water it too much, it dies. If you water it too little, it dies. There's a balance between getting a plant into a tree, right? And I think even if you take a bamboo shoot, right? How many years does it take a bamboo shoot to reach its full potential? It takes a long time, right? And if you want to work it in that kind of a framework, developing the best out of your people is not a quick process. But in saying the opposite to that, sometimes people are just meant to be team members. They're not meant to be leaders. So be realistic where you fit in this picture and be realistic about why you're here on this planet and what you're wanting to do. So that goes back into your purpose and what you're doing here. Yeah. Henry?
Okay. So Michelle, so the most important is the first step is seeing that the person has potential, yeah, and
Of course.
as like what before, like believing that they have the potentials to begin with, that they have greatness inside them.
Exactly. And give them the benefit of the doubt, because often we come in with a preconceived idea. We've seen them do something and we go, it's not going to work, because my brain is more powerful than my belief often. So my brain already creates the story that says this person's, it's not going to work. Instead of changing that, reframing and going, you know what? This person has greatness inside of them. However, they haven't been able to unleash it right now. So let's see the potential. Ask questions. What do you feel you could achieve? Maybe it's a different potential that they have, that they're not meant for this team, but there's always potential in every being.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oke. So ya teman-teman ya, di sini ya Michelle di slide kedua ini mengajak kita benar-benar untuk membuka hati, membuka pikiran juga ya, untuk melihat apakah staf-staf kita, kolega kita, segala itu mempunyai satu potensi. Dan jangan langsung ada filter-filter ataupun ada pemikiran bahwa aduh orang ini mah kayaknya nggak bisa atau apa gitu ya. Just be open-minded dulu aja. Lihat semua potensinya dan kita perdalam lagi dengan cara berkomunikasi, bertanya-tanya, sehingga potensi-potensi yang mungkin kita miliki ini keluar atau bisa dilihat. Ya, itu satu dari step pertamanya. Dan itu tadi Michelle juga ada ngomongin tentang kita harus perlu komunikasi, ya, dan kita perlu develop. Develop ini juga nggak harus kasih air terus ya, nggak harus kasih kebaikan-kebaikan terus. Tapi mungkin kadang-kadang ada tough love-nya juga harus ada gitu ya untuk develop seseorang, sehingga nanti orang itu bisa di-unleash dan benar-benar mengembangkan dan benar-benar show up lah dari sisi potensialnya dia. So thank you very much, Michelle, for the second slide. Shall we move on?
We can, for sure. All right. So now the thing is here, I don't know how many years you guys have been doing this, but I've been doing this for a long time. And leadership is around, like, when you want to understand your people. So there's tons of profiling tools around the world. You've got Myers-Briggs, you've got DISC, you've got PI, you've got millions of different tools that you can use in a leadership space. And one thing as a leader is you need to determine and decide what the best tool is for yourself, because often the tools that are available are more behavioral things that have been learned over time. So, you want to be balancing and making sure that you're not making an assumption of somebody and putting them into a box because of the particular tool. Now, about 90% of these tools are actually psychometrics. They're built with a particular algorithm inside of them, right? All of them are, but a psychometric tool is specifically going through the psychological associations in different countries. They're signed off by psychologists and psychometrists and all of that kind of stuff. So be careful what you use and be happy with what you're using and be passionate that this is the tool that you found to be the best tool for you. So profiling is really about getting a better description of the person. And often it's around their skills, it's around their behavioral traits. And the one that I use mostly is around energies, right? So you guys can have access to my slides later. Henry's got them. So the point here is that there's so many different people. Everybody's got different views, different beliefs, different skills, different value systems, things that they believe is right and wrong. So, the differences make up what makes the diversity, which is actually great, right? Now, of course, this can also create goodness. It can also create conflict. It can create badness. So there's such a range here because it's not that every human fits into one box, as you can see. Right? So these differences often, can be known to create conflict and can divide people. You can see this through the last 2.5 years with COVID, right? It's caused a massive divide everywhere, right? But it's because there's people with greater understanding of different views and values, and these differences need to be overcome. So I think sometimes going forward into the new culture of the world, it's not about saying, one person is right and one person is wrong. It's about embracing the difference and embracing the change and how we can become stronger by putting those two things together. So it's interesting, right? Now, on top of this, when you're working in your businesses, with your customers, with teams, in any of these spaces in leadership, teams are not easy to get everybody happy together, right? Because most of the things around a business is driving revenue, driving customers, how do we grow? All that masculine energy is driving into systems and processes. But if we had a look and we stepped back, sometimes if people don't understand each other well, this causes more conflict. So if you have a tool that can help you get that understanding beforehand and work together, where everybody's got a defined role, everybody knows what their strong point is, they know what they're not so good at, and you can work together, imagine the workplace, yourself, your teams, your leadership style would be so much better, right? And this is then where teamwork comes together. And in everything we're doing, if we want to make change in the world today, we need to work together, which means team. So like I'm working with Henry and Amelia, we're together. We're different, for sure we're different, but we're working together, right? Make sense?
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, Michelle. So ya teman-teman di sini ya, Michelle tadi juga bilang terakhirnya adalah teamwork itu yang paling penting ya untuk kita mencapai goals-goals kita. Karena itu akan mempermudah daripada kita bekerja sendiri ya. Tapi dengan adanya tim ini, pasti ada kemungkinan ada beberapa team member yang punya energi ataupun profil yang berbeda-beda dan kadang-kadang akan menimbulkan konflik. Ini bagaimana caranya untuk mengetahui masing-masing, termasuk saya sendiri. Saya tuh tipenya seperti apa. Nah, pasti teman-teman juga kenal banyak ya profiling test di luar situ, DISC, MBTI, dan lain-lainnya. Cari aja deh yang paling cocok. Di sini Michelle akan ngomongin lebih lanjut dari sisi profiling yang Michelle bawakan di sini. Let's continue, Michelle.
I try to mute myself when you speak in case there's any noise, you know, like a mosquito flies past me or...
No worries.
All right. So the next component is really around playing to your strengths. Now, what do I mean? Since we were small, now I can see this with my niece and nephew, right? My sister, my niece is, she's 11 and my nephew is 7, right? And from when they started school and doing things, they always had to be brilliant. They had to be good at schoolwork, all the different subjects. They had to be good at sport, at horse riding, at tennis, at gymnastics, at all of these things from when they were small, right? Now, this is it's almost like made us a bit of a sick society in a way, because we're trying to create perfectionism in so many different things, right? Now, if you were to take that people together each have different strengths, right? So Henry, like your strength is different to my strength. Amelia's strengths are different to my strengths, right? We also have things that we're not so good at, but what society has taught us is to try and fix things that aren't good and just be better, right? I don't know how many times you guys have heard this, but in my lifetime, to try and fix something I'm not good at, it's taken a ton of energy. Yes, I might have got it a bit better, but is that what we're wanting to achieve here? So I think sometimes it's more about playing to your strengths, understanding what you're good at, and working together with others who are good at other things instead of trying to be the best in everything, because that takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy. So when we naturally understand where we are best and naturally to our own space get to work with what we are good at, this makes life whole much easier. Because if I can be in, I'm going to drop the word now, in flow, doing things that are nice for me 90% of the time, I'm a much happier, well-balanced individual. Whereas if I'm continuously fighting to do something I'm not good at, let's give you an example. Let's say gymnastics, right? I cannot do gymnastics to save my ass. I cannot play tennis to save my ass. I can hit a ball, sure. I can maybe do a cartwheel if you get me on a good day, but I cannot do those things. I haven't trained for them. They don't come naturally. And to do them makes me anxious. I get all like, I can't do a cartwheel. Oh my gosh, I can't even do a handstand. Oh my God, someone's playing tennis with me. And I get myself worked up, which already gets the energy space in a completely different space. However, if you were to say to me, Michelle, could you get on a horse and do a whole exercise? Yes, I can do that. I love that. That's easy for me. Now you say, okay, cool, but when I'm a kid, I maybe got put on a horse or I got to play tennis. But that's not the only example, right? It's just try and make you understand a bit easier. We can bring it down to, for example, mathematics. We can bring it down to spreadsheets. We can bring it down to leading people. Yes. We can bring it down to anything, actually. What are we good at and what are other people better at? So recognizing your teams, recognizing yourself, how you naturally create value is what you can get out of a really good, I'm going to say, personality assessment. Yes, because this then tells you where your natural flow is better, where somebody else is going to complement you, and how you can move forward. Now, when you look at job satisfaction and people working in teams, right? I don't know what you guys think. Drop in the chat. What do you think the biggest thing is about job satisfaction? Do you think it's money? Or do you think it's your leader? Or do you think it's your team?
Okay, job satisfaction, yeah?
So if I want to be happy at my job, is it because I'm being paid a lot?
Yeah.
Is it about the money? Is it about who the people are? Is it about my leader? What's it about? What is your thing that you think causes job satisfaction?
Yeah. So teman-teman ditanya nih sama Michelle nih, apa yang membuat Anda ada satu ke satisfaction apa ya namanya? I'm losing my Indonesian right now.
You're losing your Indonesian words.
Bisa menjadi nyaman, kepuasan. Thank you Cipso. Kepuasan dalam di dalam pekerjaan gitu ya. Apakah itu uang ataupun salary yang Anda terima? Apakah itu teman-teman yang ada dalam kerjaan ataupun bos Anda, apa yang segala gitu ya? Apa yang membuat Anda puas dalam kerjaan itu? And while they are typing the answer, Michelle, what you described me earlier seems to be my life story. My mom has been like a dragon, an Asian dragon lady, you know what I mean? Like, and not only my mom, my dad as well. Yeah, my dad as well. So yeah, I have to go through all the extracurricular exercises, going to learn about piano, swimming, and everything. Just what you describe it. So it is exactly a typical Asian so-called culture and oral education as well. Yeah,
definitely. My mom was the same. My mom believed everything had to be perfect, and that's something I've had to work on in my lifetime. Because damn straight, I'm perfect in some things, but hey, I'm just not good at other things, right? And I think Henry, the point about it is realizing when you're good at something and what that means, and leaving behind trying to be perfect. Perfect is actually not fun.
Yeah,
it's not a fun state, right? It definitely, somebody told me many years ago, being perfect, Michelle, it's kind of stressful because everything has to just be like all this time you spend making everything right. So when you find what your magic is and what your strength is, it's easier. But now let's talk job satisfaction. If you think that money is job, people do jobs for money, actually money is the least thing that keeps people happy in a job, right? The thing that keeps people happiest in a job is good leadership and the teams they work with, the vibe, the energy. So that is why I brought that up, because most of you guys, even in partnership arrangements, right? We still don't always get on or see exactly the same way. But if we've got a good energy and we come to a good outcome, things can be solved, right? If we like each other and we like the energy, we can move forward. So I'm going to move to the next slide, because this is the tool that I love. I love wealth and talent dynamics, and I'll give you the history just now. But this is what I started working with. And the reason I used it was because Roger Hamilton actually designed it, and I'll tell you how and why and what have you, is he basically took Carl Jung's work, which is a renowned psychologist, and he took the I Ching, which you guys know. The I Ching is like a 5,000-year-old process in the Eastern side, right? So he took both of those concepts and he actually put a tool together, which was really, really great on where your strength is. Where is your energy the strongest? Where can you add the most value? Where can you be your best version of yourselves? And this is where it was amazing when I started using this tool, how you understand the different unique strengths that pass through. So I'm going to teach you a bit about this today, because you don't need to necessarily know everything to be able to understand. But it's really good to be able to do an assessment that gives you that credibility and gives you that it's okay to be what I am, right? So how does this work? Firstly, there's two main topics here, and you can see I'm using the word flow again. Now, flow, I'm going to test you later, so you better all be on top of it. But flow is really the path of least resistance. So if you think about water, the water goes down like a mountain, and it goes like this, right? It finds a tree. Have you ever seen a river go into the water? A river go into a tree and just go like this? It doesn't do that. It goes around the tree, right? It misses the tree, then it misses the rock, and it goes with a path of least resistance. So when you actually get into flow, you start working in an easier flow, in an easier path for yourself. So once you also know where your profile is strongest, you have your own strengths, you have your own challenges. You can then combine with other people who have your challenges or their strengths, right? Because now you're not competing, because now you're actually appreciating their strengths versus your strengths, and you're both stronger, right? So it's about finding the balance between all of the different energies that we have, and I'll get to that, and then actually taking it and getting everybody to be strong in their spot so that everything's covered and you can actually work in a better format. So this is the tool that I use. I totally love it, like I said. And one of the big things about this is that when people actually know where they're strongest, boom, productivity increases. Totally, categorically. Because I feel like I'm actually doing something good, because I'm not being told all the time that I'm not doing something right, which is something that I don't like to do anyway, right? So as soon as you go there, and then you can start doing job descriptions, the people in your teams, putting them into the right roles for their strengths, right? So somebody who is a great networker and loves dealing with people and networking, right, is going to be completely different to somebody who sits doing admin and tasks in the background. And now you're actually bringing out the best in the people. So it's a natural strategy, which makes it a lot easier. And it almost feels a lot like in flow, you know, it's like when you actually sit back and you go, oh, that makes sense. How come I never did that for years and years and years? So this is just some points that you can always look at together afterwards, or they'll be available on the slides. I know we need to move on a little bit, I think, Henry. So here are also the slides. I've put the history in here. You guys can go and take a look at it. I'm not going to cover that now, but one thing I am going to cover is just quickly this, right? Because you guys can go and read up on the I Ching, and you can take a look at the 8 trigrams. And this is the book that Roger used to determine the different energy frequencies, right? So if you take a look, there's 4 main ones. I'm sorry, there's a spelling mistake. I see this right now. Oops, sorry, never mind. I'll fix that and I'll send you a new one. But basically it's the book of changes. So what you've got is you've got your wood, you've got fire, you've got earth, you've got metal, and then everything is tied together with your spirit, which is actually water. And at any moment in time, there's a natural path to follow, which is based on this kind of triagram, where you actually get to commit to the best thing for yourself. So you can go and read up on this. There's a lot of information, but how this comes together is there's these 5 main frequencies. So Henry, do you want to do a nutshell before I start this section, or do you want me to carry on?
I think just carry on first for now.
Okay, stop me when you need to, right?
Sure, I will.
So there's 5 main frequencies. And what do I mean, right? We have what? I'm starting at the what, right? The green one. Who, when, how, and I've got why at the top. Now these make up the 5 frequencies, right? And they're the 5 energies. So what you've got is you've got the ideas, the what, the big pictures. Then you have the who, which is the people side of things. Then you have the when, which is really around like timing and touching and feeling and, you know, being grounded. Yes. Then you've got, it's going to sound steel, but it's your data, it's your analytics, it's how the things work, the little nuts and bolts behind it. And how this all flows together, and you can see it's still in a circle, is your why. It's held together by your why. And remember at the beginning, I asked you, why are you here? Why do you want to improve your leadership? What is the difference? You could just be yourself. But why are you here? Why are you stepping up? So when you know where you fit strongest on here, right, then it makes life a whole bunch easier. So I firstly know what my why is. It's related to water and spirit. My particular profile is actually between the what and the how, right? And I'll explain that to you a little bit later. So I kind of have both of those traits. So you can see I'm very much on one level. Yeah. Henry, where is your energy strongest? Do you know?
I'm in the how.
You're in the how, for sure.
Yeah.
Amelia, on the other hand, where's she? She's in the who.
Correct. Yes.
Right? So these are different things. And what it does is we've got the what is called dynamo energy. The who is called blaze. The when is called tempo. And the how is called steel. So what do I mean is we have these beautiful fishes. How cute are they? So this one is your dynamo. So when you are strongest in dynamo energy, you love big pictures, you love color, you love vision, the picture, where am I going? Like everything is so big. People who are in a dynamo energy, you'll see they'll often look up when they're thinking. They'll put their hands up like this. So those are just little techniques that you can recognize immediately. This is somebody who's an ideas person, a big picture thinker. Yeah. When you get to the blaze is someone who has a mix between your sensory and your vision, right? Your intuitive thinking. Now, a blaze is someone who loves people. If you talk to them, Henry, they'll just say, I love working with people. That's the first sentence that'll come out of their mouths, right? They're just so bubbly. They love networking events. These people know people everywhere. But if you ask them how many people they know, they go like, I don't know anyone. And then you go, really? Show me your phone. And their phone has got millions of people, right? They've got millions of followers. They've got Facebook friends forever, right? These are your blaze people. They definitely work well in a connection space. Then you get your tempo. Now your tempo is grounding. So it's sensory. I'm going to give you a little tip just now also, but sensory, people who touchy-feely, they have a sense of timing, like when is the right time to do something. Yeah. They also talk a lot slower. Yeah. The dynamos and blazers, really fast. The tempo, slow, grounded, centered, right? Sensory, those kind of things. Then the last energy that you have is your steel. Steel is that organization, that perfectionistic stuff that comes in, right? Very mechanical, organized, detail-orientated, run projects, know when everything is supposed to be where it is. It's very much, it's not only administration, it's also money, it's many things, data. And steel people is really around the analytics and understanding how things work. But there's also other components in there, like pulling it apart and fixing it, for example. So you have all of these four. So maybe drop down where you think you would be based on what I've said in the chat. Are you dynamo? Are you the green fish? Are you blaze, the red fish? Are you tempo, the orange or yellow fish? Or are you steel, the gray fish? Just guess. Now remember, when somebody is intuitive, they look up when they're talking. They also raise their hands. Now, you can't always see this, but the people who are tempo, they keep their hands down. Also, left and right tells you, because if you look at a square, intuitive is at the top. Blaze is on the blaze side is on my right, so your right. Down is tempo, and the left is steel. So you've got the four like that, and I'll show you shortly. But this is then the nice way to just kind of check where you're at. So,
okay, let me translate a little bit here, Michelle. So teman-teman semua di sini, Michelle tadi bertanya ya, tadi dari explanation yang tadi Michelle udah berikan gitu ya. Menurut Anda tuh di mana nih? Ya, di sini juga ada beberapa yang udah kayaknya ngambil tesnya nih, jadi udah langsung tahu malah sampai persentasenya nih ya. Tapi apakah Anda di yang hijau gitu ya, ikan hijau ini, yaitu adalah dynamo. Dia adalah orang yang intuitif, yang berinovasi, yang punya banyak ide sekali gitu ya. Atau ada ya ikan yang merah, yaitu ada energy blaze-nya. yaitu people person banget. Jadi gampang, mudah sekali ya untuk mendekati teman-teman ataupun mudah sekali untuk berinteraksi sama orang lain. Atau ada misalnya ikan yang kuning, yang tempo ya, dengan energi tempo, yang mungkin dia ngomongnya agak lebih pelan, terstruktur, dan benar-benar sangat sensitif, sensori banget ya, dan juga grounded. Jadi benar-benar mengetahui ya kayak tadi ya, ikannya juga pegang kayak jam gitu ya. Sekarang ini jam berapa apa itu, dia lebih sadar daripada yang lain-lainnya. Atau Anda adalah ikan yang still, yang abu-abu ini ya, yang dimana koneksinya adalah tentang data. Aku suka data, suka analisa dan lain-lainnya. Mana nih? Di mana Anda berada, dan mari coba kita tuliskan di chat room. So Michelle, there's some people, yeah, of course, Amelia knows what she is, 52% Blaze, she said, right? And some people already
she's done the
taking...
assessment, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
she's done the quiz. So it would be really great for those of you who, what I would say, Henry, is we're going to get to that part. But if you just think about where you are, what we've said, but if you really want to know the detail, then do stay on till the end, because Henry and Amelia will tell you how you can get involved in doing this, because this will change your life for sure. You know, so just guess for now. What do you think?
Yeah.
What are you seeing? Because I'm not going to open the chat because it's going to make a box on my screen, right?
Oke. Ya, yuk teman-teman ya. Siapa nih kira-kira Anda di energi yang mana? Ayo mari type-in di chat room-nya ya.
Well, let's move along, Henry, because, you know, based on what we've said, we'll get into some little bit more detail now, and then it might become more clear as we carry on talking, because it's maybe asking a little bit much. But I just want to jump here first. Right. So what is flow and what is trust? Now, this is a very, very interesting concept, right? Because when we go to this, right, different energies reflect this differently, number one. But what do you understand as flow? So I already kind of gave you a quiz, right? I said when water moves like this. So I've given you the definition here, but in your life, what does it mean to be in flow? So think about that and drop in the chats if you want to share. But Henry is going to tell me what it means in his life to be in flow. And then maybe we can choose one other person to talk about flow, right? Like maybe Amelia can come on and say, what does it mean in her life to be in flow, right? So Henry, what does being in flow in your life mean when everything just works?
Right. So for me, I mean, being in the flow is when actually I'm right now in front of my computer. So I can do my research on Google. You know, we call it Mbak Google, knows everything in the world that is to know, and working with the computer like programming, Excel spreadsheets and things like that. You know, well, you know, I'm the still, you know, the gray fish. So yeah, I love to be doing this, and that's what I am most comfortable with. And you know, sometimes when I'm doing my research, it's just like, you know, a few hours just went past by, and I didn't even know that it's already like past 10 midnight or, you know, things like that. So yeah,
but when you're in flow, time goes fast, right?
Yeah,
time flies.
very true, very true.
But so, let's say, what makes you out of flow?
Out of flow?
Yes.
Actually, sometimes for me, doing this kind of talking is out of flow for me.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
The opposite side, right? So after, I'm fine right now. I'm enjoying it, being with you right now. But you know, after session about this, and also if I interact with many people, or like in the networking sessions, I get drained. Really, I feel tired. You know, and like, and I need to recharge. I need to go back and recharge.
Yes, exactly. So this is what I mean. It doesn't mean that you can't do everything you like to do. Everybody here in this room can do absolutely anything you want. You choose it, you do it. And I believe human beings can do that. The difference comes in how much energy it takes for you. Does it enhance your energy and make it like, yes, I'm excited to do more? Or does it just make you feel, oh, I'm a bit tired, I need to recharge? It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you when you get tired, and it doesn't mean you cannot do something when you get tired. It just means that this is not your natural flow. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
How about the others? So, bagi teman-teman yang lainnya, apakah tadi penjelasan tentang flow ini dari Michelle dapat dimengerti ya? Jadi flow itu kan path of least resistance. Kayak tadi umpamanya adalah satu sungai ya, di mana dia mengalir dan ya pasti kalau ada rintangan-rintangan itu akan air itu akan mengalir melalui ataupun menghindari dari rintangan yang tersebut. Nah, di mana lagi dalam hidup Anda itu Anda merasa being in the flow? Apa nih? Coba kalau ada yang mau cerita, boleh yuk di typing di chat. Apa yang membuat Anda merasa in the flow yang kayaknya tuh mudah sekali untuk Anda lakukan, atau ketika Anda melakukannya itu Anda benar-benar kayak enjoy banget gitu ya, nggak mikir sana sini, nggak merasa terbebani dan lain-lainnya, itu Anda sedang being in the flow. So yuk kalau mau bisa dituliskan di chat room ya.
Can I share?
Yes, of course,
I'm
Amelia.
here.
Hey,
Yeah. Okay. I will share quick in bahasa. Jadi kalau buat aku ngerasa nge-flow itu ngelakuin semua tuh kayak, tiba-tiba udah sore ya, waktunya udah habis ya ternyata, itu kayak in the flow. Tapi kalau aku nggak suka ngelakuin itu kayak, ya ampun 1 jam itu kayak udah seminggu gitu ya. Jadi kalau aku in the flow kayak waktunya itu cepet, terus tiba-tiba kayak lupa waktu ngelakuin sesuatu. Itu salah satunya sih kalau buat aku. Mungkin ada yang merasa seperti itu juga. Kayak ini, udah 1/2 tahun berlalu. Gitu. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you Bu Amel. Ada lagi mungkin mau sharing? I'm asking if anybody would like to share.
Of course, no
what them
problem.
being in the flow.
Otherwise, just drop it in the chat for us,
Yeah.
Then we can definitely have a bit of a convo around it for sure. Now, I think the next topic that I do want to get to, because I know that we are aware of time and stuff,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And I don't want to take over everybody's time for forever, because this is such an interesting topic. It's like, yes. Is actually is trust. Now, trust is an interesting thing, because trust comes from the belief system that you have when you're a kid, right? And your brain, between the ages of 3 and 19, you absorb stuff, right? All the time. And this creates rules in your head, which then creates what your belief system is around trusting somebody or not. So if you go to the definition in the dictionary, it's really like, do you guys want to maybe mute someone who's, I don't know, not muted? There we go. Sorry, it's kind of ding, ding, ding. Trust is defined as like it's a firm belief. It's something that you believe, right? The ability of someone or something, you believe in the reliability of it, the truth of it, or the ability. And this is a catch in leadership, because if you have a belief system of someone, this goes back to the beginning. If you have a belief system before you even give them the benefit of the doubt, this can change that whole relationship, changes the whole flow. So again, go back to that space where you believe there's good in everybody, there's enough to go around, and give them the benefit of the doubt before you make an assumption for something that you don't actually truly know. But the assumption comes from your belief system in your head. So keep that in mind when we get to this next slide over here. This is where I just want to show you. You can see here, we actually split the wealth dynamics square. Now this gives us a relationship between all of these 8 profiles. And like we said, we've got dynamo. So when I take this and I split it down the middle over here, this might help you decide where you are, right? Vertically. Right-hand side is extroverted, left-hand side, introverted. Now, extroverted doesn't mean you totally love people and everything just works. And introverted doesn't mean you totally don't like people, right? Ultimately, the best example is if I were to put Henry in a room with 1,000 people, right? And he had to go network, what would he do? Would he, do you think, walk through the room, meeting everybody with his coffee going, hi, hi, hi? Or do you think he would be standing by the coffee machine, watching the room? And then when someone came to talk to him, he'd go, hi, lovely to see you. Which one do you think? 1 or 2? Any guesses? Do you guys know Henry?
Yeah, so yang kenal saya ya, coba. Tadi saya juga ada cerita dikit tentang preference saya ya. Ayo, aku nomor 1 atau nomor 2 nih. Apakah aku akan mengelilingi ruangannya itu dan berinteraksi dengan 1.000 orang yang di ruangan itu, atau aku akan di pinggirnya coffee machine dan menunggu di approach, dideketin. Yang mana nih? Perhaps me being the moderator is making things confusing for them.
Oh, shame. Okay. Well, that's okay.
Number 2.
But it's
Oh,
okay.
well, they know me. They know me. Number 2.
Yeah. But guys, so introverted people do like people. It just means that it takes energy. Like for me, when I go run an event and I meet lots of people, it doesn't mean I can't do it. It just means it's taking more energy. If I split this, right, down the middle like this, horizontally, you've got innovative energy, which is like your creative dynamo stuff, or you've got sensory, which is your tempo. So like we talked about it, you can see this is your green fish, this is your red fish, this is your orange fish, your silver fish. It's tied together with water, which is your flow and your spirit and why you're here. Now, the easiest way for me to explain it before we move on, so you can think about this. If I am a dynamo, how it works in spring energy, if you're a squirrel, you know, a squirrel with a bushy tail in Europe, in spring, what do? They run around and they're mating. They're finding a partner and they're mating. In summer, here, the blaze energy, they're lying in the sun, having their babies and enjoying the sun. In autumn, here, they're collecting acorns. In winter, because it's so cold, they're sleeping. Do you see the different energy that comes through in this space, right? It's just different. Have you ever been in a boss's office? Like I've worked through many bosses. The one guy I had, every time I went in his office, it was like maybe the air conditioner was on and it was 11 degrees, 10 degrees. I was like, right? Because his brain was a cold steel winter energy. He functioned better like that. So think about yourself and think about how you function better. Do you function better when it's super, super hot, when it's cold, when it's medium? Where? In springtime, in autumn time? Because that also makes a difference. Also, different countries have got different energies. So United States has got a very blaze energy, right? The UK has got a very dynamo energy, right? Bali, Indonesia, any of those countries definitely have a tempo energy. When I come to Bali, everybody's, hi, Michelle, how are you? They love you, they care for you, they know everything, they touch you. It's so lovely, right? Steel energy, Germany, everything is organized. So you can see things like that happen in a natural energy space or field. And everything over here is held together by water, by your purpose. Yeah. So we could go back to the squirrel. We don't know why they're here, but we know that the squirrel over here is definitely here for a reason, right? We don't know what it is, but we know that it's here. Okay, does that make sense to everybody before I finish off with the last 2 slides that I have?
Ada pertanyaan atau ada yang nggak jelas nih ya? Tadi Michelle barusan menjelaskan mengenai energi-energinya. Kalau dibagi rata sini horizontal ya, bagian atas adalah inovasi dan timing. Tapi tadi perumpamaan yang dia pakai adalah sebagai seorang tupai. Ya, tupai di masa spring itu akan ya coupling gitu ya. Saya nggak ngomong itunya, tapi akan membuat babies gitu. Dimana kalau ntar di summer itu dia akan ya bersantai, enjoying mataharinya. Waktu di autumn musim gugur itu akan mungkin mengumpulkan akorn-akornya ya, nuts-nutsnya itu untuk disimpan. Dan waktu winter dia akan tidur. Jadi seorang tupai pun punya berbagai energi yang berputar-putar. Dan kita sebagai manusia pun juga memilikinya. Jadi kalau ada yang mau bertanya atau yang kurang jelas, silakan ya, bisa ditanyakan, ditulis saja di chat room.
Awesome. Okay. So this brings it back down. When you're working with different energies, and we're tying it back now into leadership, right? If you know where somebody is strongest, right? You can automatically say what they need, and you can automatically understand how to talk to them, what questions they would be asking you. And you would also then understand their best role in a job, how to talk to them in the best way. And then what are the things that cause like stress for them? So if I was to go to Henry and I was late, I would bring chaos. I would be changing everything at the last minute, right? I would be ignoring all of his concerns and all of those things, right? Like he would look at me and he'd be like, what are you doing, right? What exactly are you doing? Okay, so these different kind of things, because, you know, or even looking at people management, go and manage these people, Henry, go and lead these people. He'd be like, Michelle, no. Or can you go and sell this program? Not really.
Nope,
You know,
nope.
so these are great little tips, all right, how to communicate. So you can see Dynamo is quick. When I talk to Amelia, we talk very fast, right? But Amelia is around stories. Yesterday even, she sent me a message. Do you know the story about this one and this one? I was like, no, I didn't know the story, right? Because for me, I'm a steel. I don't need the story. Yes, this gray one. Whereas Amelia needs the story to be cool. Yes. If you take a look at every one of you fits somewhere. So take a look, because then your teams fit into the same spaces. Yeah. And the more definition you have on this, that's why there's actually 8. So you have creator, star, supporter, deal maker, trader, accumulator, lord, and mechanic. When you know exactly where you are, this becomes so much easier, because then you can bring inspiration to your teams. You can guide them in the best way. So I love it because of that. So my best suggestion is to drop in the chat if you want to know the more detail of what you want, and the team will be in contact to see how you can do that. So say yes if you want to know, am I what, right? Do that for sure, because this makes it easier for you and your team to be better. Now you can see here, this is one of the slides where I've put trust and flow together. So you can see that if I have the Dynamo energy, right? I build trust through innovation. How do I get into flow? By having initiative. Somebody's not nagging me to do something. I'm allowed to run with my own project, right? When I have a blaze energy, how is my trust built? Through communication. Look at Amelia. She builds trust through talking and communication. She then gets into flow by having the respect from her peers and her community. Tempo, when, right? Trust is built through service. So if you look at all of our resorts, or if I go to our Bali resort, right? How do they do it? Trust is built through exceptional service. Exceptional service. How do they get into flow? By being present with their customers, by being there and actually listening to hear, not listening to answer. Still, exactly as Henry said, it's trust is built through measurement. If I want to know data and I say to Henry, how many people are you inviting? Michelle, 25 people. This is what's going on. This is how it's going to look. Because he gets into flow through discipline and everything being ordered. So these are the different ways that it starts working. And then you've got it held together with your spirit, which trust is built through normal spirit energy. How do you get into flow? By persevering and being better, right? Being a better leader, moving forward, understanding your team better. So I think, you know, these are the main things. And this is something I just wanted to add in, because different profiles also have different leadership styles, right? So you can see your innovation guys is task. They lead by task-based decisions. Whereas your collaborative, your blaze people lead through people. Your tempo leads through activities, whereas your steel leads through data, numbers. And this is then linked together by your impact, your contribution. What are you doing to make a difference? Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so. And Henry, what do you think?
Yes, for me, it's give me a more clarity. I've dealt with it a little bit, but what you just explained to me just makes more sense. It's very important for us to know, yeah, where we are, which energies that we play in. So thank you very much, Michelle. So let me ask the other people too first. So teman-teman yang lainnya gimana nih? Kita udah hampir penghujung dari sesi ini ya. Tadi barusan Michelle juga sudah menjelaskan tentang apa leadership styles-nya. Apakah Anda, kalau di slide ini adalah di mana Anda berada, dan ini style dari sisi leadership, kepemimpinan Anda. Kalau Anda Dynamo, Anda akan berdasarkan aktivitas, kerjaan, tasks gitu ya. Kalau Anda dari Blaze, itu adalah mengenai orang-orang, people based. Anda di Tempo itu akan mengenai kegiatan-kegiatan. Still, kayak saya itu tadi database banget gitu ya. Saya suka banget analisa, nggak ada data bingung gitu ya. Ataupun di Spirit, yang adalah lebih ke arah apa yang mau diberikan, apa yang mau saya capai, aktualisasi diri lah kalau di Spirit itu. So, ada pertanyaan dari teman-teman yang lainnya? Very quiet today, Michelle.
It is quiet. It's okay. It's also late for you guys, right? Which is okay. So, I'm just going to put this here because this will give you more detail, and you guys can share my slides, but this gives you a bit of information on that. So I'm going to kind of stop sharing my screen now, but is there anything that is a vital thing for anybody that has a really good question that they want to finish off with today? Because I do need to wrap it up, unfortunately, because I have to go to my next appointment. But Henry, is there anyone who you've seen through the time has got a really, really good question that we can possibly delve into?
Okay, one question that probably have one is like, how do you inspire trust as a leader, from Don Don?
Definitely a great question, right? Again, trust means that as a leader, you have to go into your spirit energy, yes? Because your team is not all in one frequency. So when you know where your team is, and your team is made up of dynamo, blaze, tempo, steel, right? The trust comes through inspiring them in their energy space. So you almost have to become balanced. You have to reflect all energies and then help them in their energy. So it's a serving space. Again, it comes back to those leadership principles by going first, leading by example, those kind of things. And that is then how you bring out the best. It takes time. There's multitude of different learnings here. I mean, I could have put some stuff in about the Blanchard leadership curve, which is really also with the energies, but maybe we do that another time because it's very, when you start divulging into it, it's so interesting, you guys. But I definitely, for me, if you want to know how to be better for yourself, definitely do an assessment of sorts, know where you are, know where your energy is strongest, then take it to the next level and actually do it with your team. Because your team, when you know where they fit, you will be better because you'll have to step up, right? You have to step up. You have to be better. Yeah?
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
I believe so. I think for me it's very clear. But again, I will invite everybody to say thank you to Michelle. We are actually a bit over time. Now it's 7:13. Thank you for staying with us, Michelle, and for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom to us. It's been very useful for me, and I believe it's also very useful for everybody here. But again, I invite everybody, if you want to say thank you, Michelle, and everything in the sharing. Wahyu just say thank you, Michelle. So it's very great. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
And
thanks, guys. I really love being here.
Thank you, Michelle.
Have a nice day today.
So yeah,
thank you, Henry,
you're more
very
than welcome
much.
to go, and then I will continue and wrap up the session. Thank you, Michelle, for your time.
Perfect.
Again.
Thank you so much, you guys, and good luck in your leadership, right? And I hope to see you soon.
Amin, 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 everybody. So teman-teman semuanya, Michelle sudah mau meninggalkan kita dulu sekarang ini, dia ada janji yang lainnya. So bagaimana tentang sesinya Michelle malam ini? Apakah berguna? Apakah ada inspirasi ataupun insight-insight tertentu yang Anda semua dapatkan? Yuk, boleh boleh di chat, di type-in di chat juga. Dan kalau ada pertanyaan lagi, silahkan nanti kita akan bantu untuk jawabnya. Mbak Ina atau Novel, ada apa lagi mungkin mau di-sharing ya? Sambil kita menunggu ada pertanyaan-pertanyaan lainnya di dalam chat room. Ya. Ina, kamu mau yang sharing ini? Jadi ini adalah satu, saya mulai dulu kali ya. Ini adalah satu assessment proses nih ya. Tadi kalau Michelle tadi pada akhirnya adalah mengajak kita semua untuk mengenal diri kita sendiri. Ini adalah satu kesempatannya buat teman-teman semua di sini ya. Kalau tadi mungkin ada yang lihat juga, benar-benar ada orang yang kayak Ibu Amelia udah tahu specifically energi saya tuh berapa, ya energi saya berapa di blaze, di tempo atau di steel, dan ini benar-benar sangat berguna ya. Saya sendiri sudah mengambil tesnya ini dan buat saya juga sangat-sangat berguna. Dan sebenarnya terus terang nih, saya juga sudah mengaplikasikannya kepada tim saya. Saya lagi bikin satu proyek di Bali, dan semua timnya saya itu saya sudah berikan tes kayak gini. Dan jadi aku bisa tahu nih, di tim saya itu energinya seperti apa, mereka kerjanya seperti apa, mereka akan lebih bagus di mana. Ini aku sudah mulai pakai. So teman-teman yang lain yang tertarik juga untuk mengetahui diri sendiri ataupun timnya, silakan ya bisa kontak juga Ina di sini. Tulis saja di chat room siapa yang mau gitu ya, nanti akan di follow up oleh Ina. Tapi ini ada paket-paketnya untuk yang 2 tes, 3 tes maupun 5 tes. Tentunya lebih banyak tesnya, lebih murah lagi. Dan ini semua akan termasuk juga satu online reading session ya. Di mana online reading session ini akan dipimpin langsung oleh Sinergia, top leadersnya dari Sinergia. Saya nggak bisa kasih tahu siapa dulu, sekarang rahasia gitu ya. Tapi ini akan satu sesi untuk membahas apa yang Anda dapatkan dari tes itu, sehingga Anda benar-benar dapatkan clarity bagi Anda ataupun tim Anda, di mana Anda berada, di mana tim Anda berada, dan apa yang perlu Anda lakukan untuk meningkatkan diri sendiri maupun tim Anda, performance-nya, impact-nya, dan lain-lainnya. So silakan teman-teman semua ya, mari tuliskan aja di sini kalau ada yang mau mengambil paket-paket ini. Berikutnya ada apa nih? Oh, oke. Ini jadi ada ada kelas 1 ya, tanggal 13 jam 4 ini untuk strategi pembuatan SOP. Nah, ini aku kurang tahu sih. Nova atau Ina ada yang mau sharing? Ya, oke, mari yuk.
Oke, jadi Bapak Ibu semua, seperti biasa mungkin yang sudah sering ikutlah Leaders Talk, kami selalu ada yang namanya live online training. Kami adakan tiap bulan sekali gitu ya, dan kebetulan dalam bulan ini kita ada punya judul strategi pembuatan SOP, Standard Operational Procedure yang sistematis. Kapan tanggalnya? Tanggal 13 Juli 2022 pukul 16.00. Jadi Bapak Ibu boleh plot jadwalnya sekarang biar nanti kita bisa ketemu bareng-bareng ya. Dan buat teman-teman di sini, Bapak Ibu yang mungkin penasaran atau belum daftar gitu ya, mau daftar dan mau ikut sesinya, boleh langsung klik aja link yang di drop oleh rekan saya Rio gitu ya, bisa langsung daftar lewat situ gitu. Oke, next Ina bisa lanjut. Nah, ini juga terkait dengan leadership juga, masih bahas-bahas tentang leadership ya Bapak Ibu. Buat Anda yang ingin tahu gitu ya, tipe leader seperti apa Anda gitu ya. Mungkin mau coba-coba dulu nih yang versi free-nya gitu ya, walaupun beda banget pastinya gitu ya. Jelas lebih komprehensif yang tadi gitu ya. Tapi mungkin Bapak Ibu pengen penasaran leadership-nya seperti apa dan tools-nya free, dan ada tips-tips and triknya juga bagaimana cara menumbuhkan karisma leader Anda. Nah, buat Anda yang mau tahu, buat Anda yang mau dapetin toolsnya secara free, boleh langsung klik link yang di-drop oleh teman saya di kolom chat ya, atau bisa langsung akses di sinergiaconsultant.com/leadersd. Gitu. Ko Henry, mungkin saya balikin ke Ko Henry lagi untuk bertanya jawab atau something.
Iya, thank you Naval. Dan saya mau join ya tanggal 13 ya, tolong nama saya langsung deh. Saya mau
boleh
SOP-nya.
Iya, langsung dicatat.
Iya, thank you. Nah, oke teman-teman semua, sesi kita untuk yang presentasinya sudah berakhir. Sekarang tinggal sesi tanya jawabnya. Ada yang mau bertanya? Ada yang mau komentar sebelum kita tutup? Kita 7.30 ya. Kita 7.30 akan tutup sesi ini. Silakan, mari. Kalau ada yang mau bertanya atau berkomentar.
Selamat malam, Coach.
Malam, Sentosa Indika namanya. Saya bilangnya apa nih?
L, atau biasa saya dipanggil Stella. Mungkin saya lebih ke insight kali ya, Coach ya. Iya, kalau saya mungkin tadi setelah mendengar penjelasan dari Michelle, akhirnya semakin meyakinkan saya bahwa tentang strategi perang dari Sun Tzu ya, Coach, salah satunya kan hidup ini berarti medan pertempuran ya Coach ya.
Betul banget.
Ya, jadi bagaimanapun untuk kita memenangkan peperangan, maka kita harus kenali diri kita sendiri dulu dan kita kenali musuh. Gitu Coach.
Betul. Thank you El. Ya benar banget ya. Jadi di Sun Tzu itu juga bilang kalau mengenali diri sendiri maka akan menang kayak kalau 100 perang. Mengenali musuh juga, hanya mengenali musuh 100 perang juga, tapi mengenali sendiri dan musuh itu 1000 perang pun akan dimenangi. Benar banget. Thank you. Yang lain, mungkin ada insight, pertanyaan, atau komentar. Silahkan loh. Kita ambil bersama-sama sampai jam 7.30. Kita sedikit overtime ya. Maaf nih.
Ya, malam Ko Henry.
Malam, bagus.
Ya. Oke, mungkin saya juga insight yang tadi saya dapat ya.
Monggo.
Jadi teamwork itu ternyata penting untuk mencapai goal ya, meskipun Ya memang dalam satu tim itu kadang punya pikiran yang beda-beda gitu kan. Tapi ya di sini adalah perannya leader itu ya gimana caranya untuk ya menyatukan perbedaan itu sehingga ya goal itu nanti bisa tercapai gitu. Itu sih. Terima kasih.
Betul. Dan mungkin di sini kalau boleh saya tambahkan Pak Agus ya, bukan hanya mensinergikan timnya itu, tapi juga benar-benar kayak tadi ajakan Michelle di depan. Kalau kita percaya, sebagai leader kita percaya bahwa setiap masing-masing tim member kita mempunyai potensi yang luar biasa. Ya, kita percayakan dan kita memberikan izin untuk mereka membuka. Kita unlocking potensial mereka sehingga mereka benar-benar bisa langsung melejit lah. Sehingga kerjaan kita sebagai leader juga enak, Pak. Nggak usah dorong-dorong mulu, nggak usah apa gitu. Kan mereka udah langsung melejit sendiri gitu loh, Pak.
Ya, setuju, betul.
Iya. Thank you atas insight-nya Pak Agus. Yang lain bagaimana nih? Ada yang mau bertanya lagi? Ada yang mau berkomentar? Luar biasa loh, tapi ini sesi ini dari awal sampai akhir kita masih ada, udah turun dari 80 tadi, baru aku mau ngomong tetap ada 80 orang yang stay di sini. So, sekali lagi teman-teman, ya, bagi ada yang mau bertanya sekali lagi itu masih ada waktunya, selama 8 menit ke depan saya akan di sini. Monggo loh, jangan malu-malu juga ya. Ada insight. Ini Pak Eka, ini kayaknya udah buka mic. Pak Eka, mau sharing Pak? Mungkin enggak ya. So, tapi sekarang mungkin saya agak sedikit rangkuman sedikit dari apa yang diberikan oleh Michelle. Yang penting adalah mungkin kalau saya lihat ya dari presentasinya Michelle itu, yang awal-awal itu sangat-sangat penting bahwa kita harus melihat masing-masing orang lain, tim member kita maupun diri kita sendiri adalah penuh dengan potensi. Ya, kita harus percaya tentang hal itu. Kita harus percaya saya punya potensi yang luar biasa. Mungkin kadang-kadang kita lupa. Mungkin kadang-kadang kita juga tidak percaya diri ataupun karena mungkin ada kejadian-kejadian yang tertentu dalam kerjaan ataupun keluarga kita tidak merasa pede atau apa gitu ya mungkin ada, tapi every one of us, semua kita itu punya potensi yang luar biasa dan kita tinggal hanya mengenal tentang diri sendiri ya. Dengan mengenal diri sendiri itu kita tahu mana strength kita, mana yang mungkin kekurangannya kita. Dan kita tinggal bisa memilih apakah kita mau melanjutkan menggunakan strength kita ini dalam being in the flow, kalau tadi Michelle bilangnya being in the flow, head of least resistance untuk menghasilkan yang terbanyak, atau mungkin juga kita bisa memilih untuk memperbaiki, menambah untuk hal-hal yang mungkin kita kurang baik gitu ya. Itu juga adalah opsi dari kita sendiri. Kalau kita ada waktunya untuk belajar, kenapa enggak? Kita terus aja belajar terus, gitu kan, untuk menimbang. Tapi ketika kita dituntut oleh waktu, kondisi dan lain-lain, kita gunakan strength-nya kita. Nah, itulah pentingnya kita tahu diri kita sendiri awal-awalnya itu. Berikutnya baru kita tahu tim kita atau tahu perusahaan kita seperti apa. Ya, banyak opportunity di sini. Oke. That signal, ya monggo nggak apa-apa kalau mau leaving ya nggak apa-apa kok. Kita sudah di penghujung juga dan tadi materi sudah diberikan. Nanti kita akan kontak-kontak lagi bagi teman-teman yang tadi ya mau mau ambil asesmennya apa segala gitu boleh kontak langsung ke Sinergia ya, kita akan welcome banget. Oke, kalau nggak ada yang bertanya lagi ya monggo kalau ada insight one word atau one sentence kita biasanya ya insight apa yang didapatkan hari ini silahkan bisa diketikkan di chat room sambil kita menunggu closingnya kita ini. Yuk, insight-nya apa yang didapat dari hari ini? Mari kita tuliskan di chat room. Nova mau kasih lagu?
Yes, go. It's being prepared.
Okay, thank you.
I want you to tell me why you walked out on me. I'm so lonesome every day. I want you to know that since you walked out on me, nothing seems to be the
Sekali lagi, makasih teman-teman semua ya yang sudah hadir. Terima kasih untuk pembelajarannya, untuk kebersamaannya malam ini. Sekali lagi, dari Sinergia dan saya sendiri juga terima kasih atas waktunya. Terima kasih atas pembelajarannya. Mari kita gunakan pelajaran ini untuk kedepannya. Yuk, thank you semuanya. Have a good night.
Thank you Bapak Ibu semua.
Bye-bye.
Thank you Ko Henry semuanya.
Bye semua.
Dadah. Thank you Insight.
Pak Hari, Pak Iqbal. Thank you.
Sampai ketemu di Leaders Talk selanjutnya Bapak Ibu.
Tuh, ditunggu jadwalnya nanti.
Siap Ko Henry.
Ya. Recording boleh tutup kali ya? Kita mulai tutup closing.